Alrighty, folks, we're going to get right into the game here momentarily. Just gotta get Elden Ring audio set up and running. Alright, let's head over. Okay, so we have a pretty straightforward game plan tonight. We have a really big snake to kill, And before we can get that done, we have to go pick up the great big weapon that will let us kill that snake. So, we're going to head over to the Volcano Manor. We're going to grab, get up to Rykard. And then we will have to have a sacrificial run. Head back, upgrade the Serpent Hunter to at least +8, which I think is honestly all that will be necessary to defeat him. Might be a bit presumptuous of me to say so, but... well, I don't know, Moog went pretty well, and I was really, really worried about Moog. But Rykard, I suspect, is going to be a top 3 difficulty fight in this run. Truly, absolutely everything he does will instantly kill me. And he's a fairly difficult fight anyway without cheesing him, so... Hard to say precisely. One boon, though, is that because I can't take even a single hit from him, I will be able to swap all of my flasks over to the mana restoring flasks, which will allow me to hopefully make use of the weapon arts a little more comprehensively. Of course, getting to Rykard is going to be its own challenge here. Lots of stuff can kill me real quick, to say nothing of all of the poison. So, let's count on that not happening. For now, anyway. But right here, it's going to get kind of tricky. Oh, dear lord. Oh, no. Okay. Well, this is fine, because we at least opened the door. So we can now take the elevator from the Temple of Iglay. And we won't have to do the full runaround. Whoops. Boy, this... oh dear, we're going to have to do the full runaround because I forgot to unlock the elevator. Oh boy. I have a lingering sense of dread welling up within me every time I go around that corner into that elevator. Because I think I have done that run hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times at this point, trying to farm not 1, but 2 of the flaming swords that the snake men drop. Uh-oh. Whoa, got lucky there. Other than that, not a very ambitious set of stream plans for this week. I played Scorn last week, which was a game I have been looking forward to playing on stream for a very long time, because it is a game truly very close to my heart. I've been following its progress pretty much since its release was announced years and years and years ago. Oh, for God's sake. And admittedly, well, that game came out way, way later than was originally promised, but you know what? I'm not complaining. We got the game eventually. This is gonna suck. Truly a game that hits pretty much everything I want. It's gross, it's dark, it's weird, and it's sad. I truly can't think of a better game for me. And I feel like it kind of expresses something about what I like and what I value in games as an artistic medium too, not just as a thing that you play. Alright, so let's not get killed by the lava this time. There we go. We've still got to make it up through this foyer. I don't, unfortunately, remember the exact pathway to Rykard, but I'm pretty sure you just go straight and out that door. And of course, oh dear, try not to get killed by these guys. Yeah, this takes you to Rykard. Nice try, brother. Nice try. Rykard, probably among my favorite lore bosses in the game, but one of my absolute least favorite bosses to actually fight. Let's see here. Great Serpent Hunter. Hey, look. We can use it. Scaling is pretty good. We're going to go kill a bird a couple of times to have some runes to upgrade it, because I don't think I have any. But, well, let's just give it the old college try right now anyway. Okay, actually, that's pretty good, even unupgraded. Well, there we go. Didn't last long. One unexpected, perhaps, downside of fighting Rykard is that, unlike the 2 days that I spent on Moog, it won't be accompanied by a really banging soundtrack. I don't offer this criticism often, but I don't think the soundtrack for Elden Ring is actually all that good. It has a couple pretty impressive songs. Moog's theme, very, very good. Godfrey's theme, very, very good. Godskin Noble theme, very, very good. But after that, it's a pretty steep drop-off. I know some people like Fortisax's theme. I don't. I don't know what they see in it. Oh, did I actually manage to hit him with that hip fire? That's incredible. Okay. Should only need to do this, I think, 3 times, and I'll have enough to upgrade it. Ah, come on. There we go. So, unfortunately, some of the... Hello, Olami39789. Thank you for joining us. And if you have any idea how I might get out of a painting, I would really, really love to hear from you about that. We are going to kill Praetor Rykard tonight. I can feel it. We fought him once and he killed us once, so we're only 0-1. But we're going to upgrade the Serpent Hunter, and we're going to make it happen. That's what I feel. That's what I'm confident in. All that to say, welcome in. Alright, now let's see how much of a fool I am. Did I get enough runes? Do I have enough stones?
I knew they had your arms.
I don't have a 9. That's interesting. Okay. I would bet that there's a 9 probably somewhere in Crumbling Farum Azula. But I don't think I really need that. Okay, so in terms of flasks, I'm going to keep 2 health, and then I'm going to have the rest be ability. Hopefully this will be enough for me to use the weapon art on this enough times. And I don't think the extra strength is really going to matter here, so I'm going to swap the strength. Oh, and I have that still too. Should I take the bubble? Probably. And then, yeah, probably stamina. Okay. What else did I pick up? Ooh, stone barb could be crucial here. Okay. Let's try it with stone barb for a little bit. See how it goes. Alright, well, that's really all she wrote. That's all I feel like I need in order to deal with Rykard, so we will get back up to his room and get down to business. I can't remember if there is a warp in front of his fog door, like a site of grace, I should say. If there is, I very certainly forgot to pick it up. We've got a couple yapping topics set up for tonight that I'll get into once I start setting a rhythm with Rykard, the Lord of Blasphemy. This isn't the way I wanted to go. I'm losing my mind. I'm already having streamer brain, and we're not even 15 minutes in yet. Good gracious. And what are some of those yapping topics? Well, I thought I would talk a bit about Robin Hood. We had a very interesting, weird little Robin Hood Middle English stream on Saturday. An off-cycle stream for me. I usually only go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I felt an overpowering need welling up from within that I need to speak Middle English out loud on stream. And so I did. I have no... I always kill that guy when I come this way, and I don't know how long or far he's going to chase me. Please do not hit me with lava. No, no. This is why I brought 2 health flasks. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Oh no. Please no. I just want to get to your boss. Okay, here we go. There is a site of grace there. Silly me. Also, I am experimenting with new audio settings tonight, so if there is anything that seems even a little bit odd about my audio, if it seems to have weird cutouts or anything like that, please tell me as soon as you can so that I can try to make the necessary corrections. Ooh, that is deadly. Okay, maybe this is going to be a little more straightforward than I thought. That's... what? Just tagged me. Oh, did I step in the lava? Is that what hit me? Ooh, okay. Yeah, that attack, the earthquake, that's a tricky one. That's the one I fear. It has a bad reputation as being really difficult to dodge. So, a pretty high priority for me with this fight is to learn how to dodge it. It's... I recall from the very early days of Elden Ring, many people thought that attack was quite undodgeable, so the only way to deal with it was to simply be close enough to him that he wouldn't use it. Oh. Okay. I haven't completely lost my touch with this fight. Okay. Ow. Well, for those of you who have not watched this fight before, I'm going to watch the first transition cinematic, and then we'll see how it goes. Isn't he handsome?
Very well.
Come on, man, I paid you a compliment. Ooh, why is this cinematic getting a little choppy?
Join yourself and King as remedy. Together we will devour the very god.
Oh, he is a beautiful man, is he not? Okay. Aw, that's a shame. Okay. Well, I have to admit, my expectations of this fight have been completely contradicted. I expected Phase 1 would be a really serious obstacle, and it seems like it might actually be pretty straightforward to get through, even if I don't learn the earthquake timing. Excuse me, I have to cough. Just one moment. Sorry about that. Hopefully that's the last time for that tonight. Now, it used to be also in the early days of the game that, oh, toast. So that first hit will break the bubble, and then, oh no, he let go of me. Fascinating. Okay. Yeah. So it used to be way back in the day, if you loaded yourself up with enough of the mana restoring flasks, you could just spam the weapon art from this thing, and it would stun lock him through both phases. But they changed the value. Oh, yeah. So that's not possible anymore. And you know what? It's good. I've said several times previously that I'm not doing this kind of run for the sake of saying that I did it, or just, you know, accumulating as many kills as I can. I want to do it a certain way. And doing it that way requires me to avoid cheesing the fight. Like, there's a way to cheese this fight even at rune level 1 using this weapon and a lance, which I did really want to do. Because it's not the victory that I am seeking, if that makes sense. It's the journey, and I don't want to deny myself the journey by taking the easy way out, you know? There we go. So, the secret to not getting killed by his earthquake attack, I guess, is simply to not let him do it. And the way to not let him do it is to stay really close to him. Unfortunately, that does also make you vulnerable to other stuff. All of his attacks very slowly make him walk forward, and the puddle of lava underneath him emerges from him. So the further forward he walks, the more you have to back up, or, oh damn, you will get tagged by all of that. Oh, okay. The sword attacks are big and scary, but honestly, I'm not sure they're going to be... Okay, well, I got a little greedy there. I can't truthfully say I feel all that scared of the swords. The sword, rather. Once I know exactly which kinds of risks I can take, and I've internalized the timing, I don't anticipate that's going to be an issue at all. It's the other attack, the somewhat infamous Flaming Skulls attack in Phase 2 that worries me, but we'll cross that bridge when we're coming to it more regularly. Nope. Poison is not a good thing for me to have. I don't think I'm going to survive it. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. So yeah, in terms of what else is going on, well, this is it's the second week of term, so things are slowing down a little bit. First week of term is always interesting because it's a combination of nothing really being ready, but also everything that comes up needing to be dealt with immediately because, everyone's just been away for several weeks and stuff is backed up. But we had our first... Oh, I gotta stop getting caught by that. And that. We had our first real tutorials of term, which went pretty well, I think. Students are motivated and interested so far. Not surprising it is, of course. First week of term. Or second week of term. It's still early. And the course itself seems to be progressing at a pretty reasonable pace. We have pretty clear outcomes for skills and for the readings that they're doing. So I have a good expectations set so far. We will see how it goes in the future. Okay, so we still got tagged by it there. Oh. Do I just have to run back? Is that my only way out of the poison? I'd really rather not do that, because running back for the poison... I thought for sure I might be able to dodge off to the side. Running back for the poison is not an ideal answer, because it puts you in danger of triggering the earthquake attack. Now, earthquake is probably one of those attacks that is, sort of like the snow on the fire giant. A jumping base dodge with some counterintuitive timing. So we'll just have to keep trying on that front. Dodge that. No follow-up. Okay. Hit him twice. And third. Okay. Strong attack. Weapon art. Okay. Strong attack. Good. I got a little too cocky once again. Should have held off on that. Oh well. Upcoming projects for me? Well, I've got to submit an abstract to an upcoming conference. I already know what I'm going to write about. I might even throw together most of the abstract after stream tonight. And then I have to really get cracking on Whoops. Putting together the syllabus for the 4th year seminar that I will be teaching in the summer. That's going to be a Robin Hood course, so I've been spending a lot of time thinking about Robin Hood lately as I get ready for that course. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Let's get some stamina back. Okay. No follow-up. Oh. Oh, okay. What am I not seeing about the poison? Because I dodged the poison very comfortably earlier. Did I just not react fast enough to back up far enough? I mean, that could well be it. Could well be it. Ooh, am I far? Too far? Oh, okay. No follow-up. Okay, hit him twice. Okay, we got the earthquake attack. No, the lava attack. Oh, that's interesting. Oh. It seems to me that most of the time, if he does the second bite, he's going to do a third bite. Okay. Okay. So, backing up to run from the poison does trigger the earthquake. But there's just gotta be a way to dodge that. I don't want to watch a video on stream that talks about the earthquake dodge timing. But I'm sure now. It's been 3 years. Someone must have figured it out. So maybe on break, if I haven't caught on, I will look into that. The other option is I could just run even further off to the sides. I lose my bubble, but the trade-off is I don't get the earthquake, and I believe the first time I got the earthquake I had bubble and it killed me anyway, probably because there's like a pair of hits or overlapping hitboxes. Strategically, I think the play here is just to not trigger it for now. But I've got to learn better spacing for the poison breath. Bonk. Oh, that sucks. Okay. Oh, interesting. 2 bites, but no third. What are you doing? Ooh. Okay. Interesting. I wonder if I missed something in his posture that should have told me he was about to attack. I guess this is just the kind of risk timing that I'll have to internalize with practice. So yeah, in terms of the Robin Hood course syllabus, it's going to be largely, but not entirely, the Middle English Robin Hoods. One of the things that a lot of people don't really realize when it comes to the Robin Hood stories is that, you know, they're famously medieval, but there's not actually that many of them that have survived. I'll see. Now I've got poison. This is okay. This is rough. Ugly. Gosh. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So there is a way... Ah, the poison got me. A way to avoid that poison with a forward roll to the left. Okay, good to know. Thing I will keep in mind as I learn the spacing here. So my tentative plan with that course is that we will probably read the Robin Hood stories in approximately chronological order, which is not always a good idea when it comes to Middle English, because oftentimes the earliest stuff is going to be harder to read. And for a fourth year class, I can't really count on the students knowing Middle English. Like, there are other Middle English courses at this university, so they might have had some exposure to it before, but I can't expect them to, which makes it dangerous for me to to anticipate them having an easy time with the material. Oh, damn. Okay. So I did manage to dodge the poison there, but I dodged a little too close to him and got tagged by the lava, and that broke the bubble, and then it was just a series of unfortunate cuts after that. So... oh, dear me. Oh, dear me. So I think probably... we can do chronological pretty easily with Robin Hood, though, because the earliest Robin Hood stories are all very short. And even the earliest ones that scholars believe were probably written in the perhaps early to mid-1300s are written in fairly accessible dialects of Middle English, so we won't have a huge problem, I think, learning Middle English using those stories. Like, we'll probably start with Robin Hood and the Monk, which is... oh, darn. Under 300 lines, which makes it pretty achievable for a course that meets once a week. You know, in a third-year course... I'm sorry, in a fourth-year course, you know, you can definitely assign significantly more than that, because you're dealing with people who are English majors. There's extremely few people who aren't committed English majors who are going to be taking a fourth-year literature course. And the ones who do are themselves going to be majors in other related humanities disciplines. However, what you can't do is expect people to do a bunch of reading at the same time that they are learning Middle English. So the first 3 weeks are likely to be all batches of pretty short Robin Hood poems, as we acquaint ourselves with the basics of Middle English. Now, I don't really think that students need to have total mastery of speaking. Like, we will definitely run little boot camps about it, but we aren't going to have, like, some expectation that the students will master it, in part because we will only be spending perhaps half the course in Middle English. There are two long Robin Hood poems in Middle English. One of them is The Guest of Robin Hood, the longest surviving one, and probably the most interesting. So we're probably going to read that one last, starting in, like, the 5th week of term. And then The Tale of Gamelin, which is ambiguously part of the Robin Hood canon. It's hard to say. I'm going to include it just because it has certain, let's call it, thematic similarities. There we go. Alright, so even though this run is not going super well, we lost Bubble to an easy-to-dodge attack early. You know, I'm going to keep pushing as far as we can, and, you know, any practice in Phase 2 is worth it. Oh, the lava. Oh, the lava. Okay. I dodged the swords and forgot the easiest thing in the world to dodge, which is a really slow-moving puddle of lava. That's fine. All in the lessons. So yeah, I'm thinking probably Robin Hood and the Monk, then Robin Hood and the Potter, and then maybe Robin Hood and Guy of Gisborne. These are all the short ones. And then maybe The Tale of Gamelin, which is under 1,000 lines. And then 2 weeks on The Guest of Robin Hood, which is quite long. And then we will move on to the Robin Hood poems and ballads that began to circulate in the 1500s. Those are all... this is not going well. Okay, yeah. One of the reasons I don't... Like, I understand why it's here, but I don't love the puddle of lava for Rykard. I mean, something like this is inevitable whenever they design a boss where you're supposed to fight him with a particular weapon, and you're supposed to fight him with that particular weapon at a particular distance because of the range of its skills and the range of his attacks. This does allow some really fun sort of edge case strategies, because if you want to get weird with it, there's, you know, you can stack up fire immunity and just sort of stand in the lava. Yeah, I'm just gonna let him kill me here. Okay. I really did not expect the poison would start to become a problem. Just haven't strategized around it yet. And then the sort of unexpected difficulty once we get into the early modern Robin Hood stories is that now there's like way too much for us to cover. And even though many of them are short, there's so many of them that you've got to make some decisions about what you're going to include. And because I want to have them doing readings on the side that give historical context, I don't want to overload them with lots of extra readings from the primary text. So I think it'll still basically be like one ballad or broadside a week. Okay, we got lava. Okay, this is a good pattern. Okay, good. We're getting into phase 2 with our bubble. But the medieval Robin Hood ballads don't have a lot of things in them that people tend to expect out of Robin Hood. Like, there's no Maid Marian, there's no Friar Tuck. The Robin Hood that you see in those isn't really stealing from the rich to give to the poor. He sort of steals from some specific rich people to give to certain specific poor people. You definitely see this in The Guest of Robin Hood, but many of the other stories don't really... I'm gonna get caught by the lava again here. Okay. Oh, gosh. Okay. Alright. Well, I mean, I'm going to level with you. Phase 2s are going a lot better than I thought. I truly cannot remember if he does the poison attack in phase 2. But if he doesn't, oh gosh, that eliminates the worst thing of all. But I don't want us to leave out modern Robin Hood stories. You know, there's the old Disney Robin Hood that I would like to have in there. There's a number of really bad contemporary Robin Hood movies that I think are worth having in there just to talk about. Oh, darn. And also, you know, there's some Robin Hood TV shows that came out in the 50s and 60s, if I recall, which have some really, really interesting, I guess, like, I mean, be blunt, they have some very interesting politics to them. But those can be really hard to assign. Like, as far as I can tell, many of them are just straight up not available on any streaming service anymore, which is a real shame. You can get some of them if you're in the UK, but most of them no. Aw. I would like to be staggering him more in Phase 1, and so I gotta learn where my opportunities for heavy attacks are. Okay. Well, that was interesting. Okay. So probably this course is going to have a somewhat unusual reading load structure where it's heaviest sort of in the first third of the class, and then becomes lighter as we move on, and becomes also more audio-visual as we move on. I get you. Okay. I get you. Okay. Back, which is going to splash lava. Okay, he's going to... Oh! I should have been able to dodge that. Oh. That's okay. We'll get it next time, lads. We'll get it next time. Yeah, I have pretty high hopes for the popularity of this course. I expect that it'll actually be of quite considerable interest to students for a few reasons. One of them being that, you know, it's a Robin Hood course, and as far as I can tell, no one has ever taught a Robin Hood course here, and certainly nothing recently. Okay, so I think that is actually an opportunity for a heavy attack. When he does the one. Okay, we're gonna get fire. Okay, perfect. Let me get another one in here. Yes. Get heavy in there. Yes. Oh. Okay. Okay. I think what I am taking from this is that I can afford to be a little bit more aggressive with the heavy attacks than I'm currently being. So let's give that a shot, shall we? Also, it will probably be popular because it's a course that spans many time periods, so it will invite quite a range of readings. You know, it's going to be of interest to students who are already medieval people. It'll be of interest to people who aren't. And it'll also be of interest to the people who specifically like to study stuff that crosses multiple time periods, right? People who like to do that deep history stuff, which, you know, lots of students do like. So I think it'll be good. Uh-oh. Aw, darn. That's a shame. That's a shame. But playing aggressively did work out pretty well. I do think that getting consistent phase ones is going to be more or less essential here, because what I do not want is to have it at phase one come down to whether or not he does the earthquake attack or not, or whether we're in a favorable position for the poison attack. So I think finding a combo that allows me to stagger him twice with reasonable consistency is going to be good. Oh, that's a shame right there. Okay. Oh. Was I out of stamina? That was odd. Also, what's nice about the new mic settings is that it seems like it no longer picks up my drinking. By which I mean the water. Okay, not other things. I'm not quite that affected by Rykard. I was watching my Scorn VOD the other day, and oh, come on. I was a little sad to find out that every single time I took a gulp of tea, it was just so loud on screen, or on stream, I should say. Okay. Yeah, well, that was inevitable. I got backed up into a pillar and had poison to my left, lava to my right. Couldn't go, or sorry, lava in front of me. Nowhere to go. I guess in terms of where this boss fits into Elden Ring tiers, as a rule, I really don't like these bosses where they want you to use a certain particular weapon. I don't really like the Rykard fight. I don't find it fun. I don't like how few options you have really to play the fight if you're doing it the way they quote-unquote intend, meaning you're using this weapon. I don't like just how many annoying bullshit attacks he has, which is not to say that they're like unfair, just that a lot of them are kind of boring, right? It's exciting, I guess, to dodge his snake bites, but like the poison attack, that is no fun. He's not that visually impressive. Not enough for me to forgive the rest of the fight. So I kind of can't really praise this fight. It's not successful to me on a number of levels. I guess you could say that it does execute its stated design of being a fight, designed for you to use a particular weapon. So I guess congrats. But, oh, speaking of grats, God, look at that. Okay. Oh, these skulls, yeah. Oh, the lava. Oh, gosh. Okay, well. I mean, the arena sucks. To their credit, the arena is not as much of a pain in the ass as the arena is for Fire Giant, where the arena actively makes the fight worse. The arena is very visually evocative. Like, look at this; it's incredible to look at. But I don't really like fighting in it, and the lava puddle, you know, I understand why it's there. Like, this would be a rather different and much easier fight if it weren't, and not in a good way. But it doesn't produce what I would say are, like, fun play patterns. Aw, come on. Aw, come on. So, where would I put it? Well, it's a fight that is not fun for me. It's a chore fighting this guy every time I come up to him on a playthrough. So, I can't put it higher than C tier. Do I hate it? I don't know. This one is definitely low C tier for me. It's a C minus to a D. You know, and not because it's like overly or weirdly difficult. I mean, I was expecting this fight to be a lot more oppressive than it was, but I guess that's me not anticipating the damage of a +8 Serpent Hunter. It isn't fun. But as with any fight where your reaction is that the fight itself is not fun, even though it's not difficult, you know, this is a good opportunity for you to reflect on your sense of taste. Like, what a great time for me to think about what exactly I find fun in fights. You know, I tend to like fights that are very fast-paced against aggressive foes, but which leave me openings. So, you know, I see a pattern in that I really like, for example, Godfrey or Radagon or Moog, or even the Godskin Noble, for example. And Rykard is a very different kind of fight. It is really much slower. Oh. So I don't get the dance that I like to do, right? And for me, the dance is the fun part. So without it, I just feel like I'm, oh dear, feel like I'm missing something, you know? It's more so than, like, let's take the Storm King. No, not the Storm King, I'm sorry. The Giant King fight. Yorm, the Giant, I'm sorry, from Dark Souls 3, which is another fight where you have, you know, you're strongly incentivized to use a particular weapon to get through that fight. You are still, you know, although you are fighting something with pretty significant scope, you are still having basically a normal fight with it, other than that you have all of this shit to deal with. And that, to me, you know, I still don't like that fight, but it's not bad like this fight is, I think, is about the most I could say. Oh, okay. I guess there really wasn't the opening I thought there was there, which is a shame. We're going to put another, let's say 3 or 4 pulls in, and then we're going to go for a quick break. We'll see if we can get him down to more than half health, or less than half health, I'm sorry, in phase 2. I think that is easily doable, even on current levels of practice. Not if I whiff it like that, though. Okay, didn't expect that to work. That's good to know. Okay. So that, for example, is very interesting for me to learn because of how much stamina, or I'm sorry, posture damage he can... Okay. Damn. I guess, you know, I guess I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and learn the earthquake timing because I can't seem to consistently run off to the sides to dodge the poison. And the poison does linger, so it's not like I can immediately turn around and then run back. I have to hang out far enough back for long enough that the poison dissipates. And that's usually enough to trigger the earthquake. Okay. Still got me. poison's gonna kill me, though. I will press on, just for the sake of practice. You know, maybe I might like this fight a little more if the soundtrack were good, but it's kind of boring. You know, it doesn't really match Rykard at all. And you know, I don't really want to spend a long time complaining about this fight, but I do think it's worth at least taking a moment to think about what makes this maybe not a bad fight, but a very unsatisfying fight. Okay. Yeah, the same kinds of discussions come up with Millennia sometimes too, who is another... Oh. Oh, was it the poison that killed me? Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Alright. I'm going to withhold my thoughts on Millennia until we get to Millennia, who's... Oh dear, I'm so dreading the run through the Halig tree to get to her. I mean, I can use the shortcut, but just the bubbles, not being able to take a single hit. Oh, this consecrated snowfield, it's going to be awful. And it's also going to require me to kill Commander Neil, who I'm not excited about, because that fight is probably my least favorite fight in the game, normally. Ah. Okay, so I can't afford the double heavy on that. Good to know. Okay, nope. I don't know. You know, with the snow attack, you had to jump so ridiculously early that the timing just feels bizarre, right? But it's consistent, you know, once you learn it, you just, you know, you jump way earlier than it looks like you have to jump, and you'll be good to go. With this earthquake, I wonder if it's maybe the opposite. You have to jump way later than you think. Because it feels like it's not the burst of the earth that is triggering my death. It's like it rising up into the sky. But I will say, he's not, like, consistent about the earthquake attack. It's just that it's very consistently killing me, so I need to treat it as a thing that I have to avoid. Okay, well... Oh, okay. I guess, you know, it seems fair that I should internalize the idea that if I get hit by the earthquake, I can't actually follow up with any sort of attack there. Alright, so I think it's about time. We will take a short break here while I go reduce the amount of liquid in my body. And when we come back, we will continue progressing Rykard, and maybe I'll talk a bit more about some of the Robin Hood stories. So, on that note, folks, I will catch you in just a couple minutes. Alrighty, folks, I am back. We will get right into the game here in just a moment. But I did, on break, take a moment aside to look at videos of people dodging the earthquake attack, and my suspicions are basically correct in that it is doable, but really difficult. And just like the snow attack from the fire giant, it requires you to dodge so much later than you think. I honestly don't know if it's practical to learn how to do it consistently. But I did only look at a couple videos. This is probably a good little research project for me to get on ahead of Wednesday to see if there are more reliable techniques to do it. Oh. Okay. Come on, do something. Come on. Like, this is excruciating for me, I have to say. Again, I don't want to make this just a complaining session, but just watching him very slowly amble towards me, and I can't really do anything because his ability to capitalize on your openings is pretty high, and it has to be because he's otherwise, like, so big he would be incredibly vulnerable if he couldn't immediately lash out and kill you. And, like, you know, maybe in a normal run when you're not working off of level 10 wretch hit points, that would be fine. You'd eat one attack. But here, it's, you know, it's a lot of waiting and not a lot of doing. And I guess that's my big gripe with it, is it just sucks to do this much waiting in a fight that, whoops, you know, should be a little more dramatic and should be a little more exciting. It just feels like a letdown top to bottom. You know, it with Moog, for example, his, like, huge, clumsy, swinging attacks that go everywhere tell you something very interesting about him, which is that he's not really a warrior. He doesn't really know how to fight. With Rykard, his attacks have no personality. They communicate almost nothing about him, other than that he's a snake with a sword. Oops. Okay. Alright. I guess I'm just gonna have to try and bait out the earthquake attack. As far as the timing is concerned, what I learned from the videos that I watched is that the way that attack works is, of course, it is a cone that radiates out from a point in front of him, but the vertical, if you, like, there's different hitboxes that come out at different times based on distance from him, right? So the one close comes out first, and then a little bit further away, and then a little bit further away, and then a little bit further away, right? Intuitive. You have to basically wait for the earth under your feet to have already erupted before you dodge, because the hitbox is behind the animation. So just like the snow attack, where it kind of feels like you're waiting so long the attack has already hit you. Whoops. With this one, you know, you're waiting so long because it feels like you gotta wait for the attack to, yeah, already hit you also. Okay. So we've made it through with our bubble. Is exciting. Not the first time, but pretty good so far. We'll just skip that cinematic. That's not necessary. Hit him with this once at the start. Okay, good. He didn't own us. Okay. Then that will come back across. And and then he will stab. And then that stab will have a rip. Let's not get hit by the lava. Can't see shit. Which is a shame. Oh, got hit by the lava. And then he's gonna stab again. No, he's not. He's gonna breathe out. Okay. Let's try and capitalize on that. Okay. What are you gonna do now? Okay. So this is sort of the infamously annoying attack, because now you can't really do anything except run from him. Because you have all of these fireballs that are going to explode. Now, thankfully, the thing about the fireballs is that they explode on a delay. And so if you keep moving, the fireballs shouldn't catch you. Unless, of course, you get hung up on terrain. Now, this is another thing that makes me really not like this fight, because you can't really respond to it. You know, you can only run. It slows down the fight because you can't attack, really, not if you're using the Serpent Hunter. So you just kind of run around in a circle and wait for the fight to be able to be interactive again. That's nice. What I was going to do is Tantrum, which I don't really know the spacing or anything for. Okay. Alright, that was interesting. Okay, okay. That's two phase ones with bubble intact getting through so far. That's pretty good. Don't hit us, don't hit us, don't hit us. Okay. Follow up with a heavy. Okay. Okay. Run to the side. Dodge the stab. Hit him with the weapon art. Run so we don't get hit by lava. Heavy. Weapon art. Should stun him. Okay. Heavy. Okay. Careful of getting zoned. Dodge the stab. Run. Don't get hit by the lava. Weapon art. Okay. Okay, weapon art again. Oh, no. No, I wasn't paying close enough attention. There were some skulls out there. Oh well. You know, I knew this fight in particular was going to be a challenge for me, because it combines being not fun with being reasonably difficult. You know, if I run into, you know, if I do something stupid and die right away on Moog, or I waste a really good pull on like Morgott, the Omen King, for example, I don't feel all that bad, because I know that ultimately I'm just going back into a fight that I like, and it'll be fun, because I get to do the dance, right? The dance is what I enjoy. But with this fight, you know, every time I die, it's disappointing because I have to fight him again. And the only thing that would actually make me happy is not having to fight him again. Okay, that went pretty smooth. Now, arguably, maybe it's not as good of an idea to run to the right at the start of this fight, because I am getting hit by... Aw, Well, that's a shame. Okay, never mind. Is the wall a little closer there? I guess it is. I mean, I've been running to the right these last couple of times, and it feels like I'm still getting hung up on pillars and piles of skulls, which is not an outcome I want to keep repeating, you know? Yeah, just not... The terrain is being a foe here, but not necessarily in the way that the Fire Giant's terrain is a foe. So at least here it's a little more determinate. If I get my poop in a group, I will be able to figure out what the optimal like escape path is so that I don't keep getting caught on stuff. Ah. I'm dead. Ha! Denied you. Denied you with a poison. Gosh, yeah, you know, what else have we got here? I mean, so the Robin Hood thing, I kind of want to have a full reading list set up for the Robin Hood course for next week, so I can actually maybe talk about that a bit more on Wednesday, but next Monday in particular, I will have thoughts about Robin Hood and what will be assigned. You know, I may ultimately have to sacrifice my dream of having the TV shows on there. But, you know, even if it happens, I tried. Interestingly, it seems like the weapon art does not do a lot of damage to him when he's stunned. I guess maybe the hitboxes just don't line up or whatever. It's better to just do heavy attacks on him while he's down. That's keeping phase 1 at least a little bit more consistent. Whoop. Okay. Okay. Alright, that's actually not bad, because that gives me an avenue of escape to the left instead, which has cleaner terrain. Now let's dodge the stab. Okay. I think we're far enough away, we don't have to worry about the upswing. Heavy to follow up. Okay. Now we back off. Okay. Now we have to watch out a bit. Okay, that again is another good thrust. I've made a bad miscalculation there. Okay, so what did we learn from that? I mean, I guess it wasn't a miscalculation, I just made a mistake. I didn't know he would do that. But if you pursue him aggressively when he jumps back, he can immediately riposte with a stab forward. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Yeah, what else? What else is going on here? We got a couple important meetings coming up on Friday that'll concern a conference that might or might not happen in May. I hope it does happen, just because I would really like the experience of making one of these happen, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to feel too bad, because the reasons that it didn't work out, or it might not work out, have not a lot to do with me, I think. You know, it's a good, I guess, an example for me of the importance of personality management. Oh, that's a shame. Really got me there. And I guess I'll try phase 2, but I'm gonna die pretty quick on account of the poison. Maybe I should get the... No, you know what? I'm not gonna get anything that relieves poison, because the way forward here is just to not fucking not get poisoned. Okay. Okay, and now we follow up with a heavy. Okay, and now we let him decide what's going to happen next. Okay, he's taking out the pillar for us. He's going to stab. Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. That was not the stab he usually does in that combo. He changed it up. but I did notice that the stab he usually does involves him grabbing the sword with both hands. So I guess if he pulls it back and doesn't go for the second hand, I have to be prepared for a faster stab and for there to be a second one coming up right after it. Okay. Knowledge. Knowledge, hopefully, that I can make use of. But yeah, like, trying to get this conference organized was a really interesting experience for me. You know, getting conferences going is a... oh dear. A pretty standard thing that it's good to learn how to do if you have any aspirations to be in academia long term. I have mostly been trying to handle back end stuff with it, so I took you know, something of a step back when it came to like deciding on the conference theme, for example. And unfortunately, it was in the group that had responsibility for the conference theme where we are running into some troubles that have introduced delays that might make it impractical for us to actually offer the conference. Again, a shame, but you know, I can't really do everything and be part of everything, so I can't beat myself up too much about that. I did what I could, and I don't know if there's ever going to be a way it would work with that. At least, you know, knowing what I know now, I guess. Maybe there was no way that I could have known back in like September, October that this was how it was going to hash out. But, you know, in terms of basic conference running stuff, we had to reserve space. We had to settle on what amount of technology we wanted to stock in the rooms for the conference, which for us, being that it's just a grad student conference and not a full, like, huge professional organization, the right amount of technology felt like not very much. Okay. Oh, here's 2. Which stab are we getting? Quick stab. Okay. Back up. Back up. Okay. Attack are we getting here? Oh, we're getting... I'm gonna stop whatever attack it is. Okay. Oh, okay. Never mind. We were getting skulls. Okay, so we're in the boring phase of the fight again, where oh. Okay, wasn't a skull that time, it was just an exploding pillar of lava. Well, you know, I guess it wouldn't be this fight if there wasn't multiple things that could kill me. But rest assured, I am not going to reduce myself to cheesing this fight. The most I might consider doing is going to get a +9 stone so I can upgrade this one level further, but even that, I think, is a step too far. This fight just doesn't deserve it. This fight sucks. I'm sorry. I can't really defend it. The other way that I guess I can think of that would make it easy would be to get the Mimic tier. It would certainly make Phase 1 a lot easier, that's for sure. Oh, come on. You know, 2 Mimics with this much firepower on the Serpent Hunters would make short work of him. Or sorry, 2 Serpent Hunters being wielded, I guess. So then I guess the next question is, you know, since this fight sucks so fucking hard, what would I do to fix it? How would I make it not suck? I mean, aside from the annoying earthquake attack, which I'm just not going to address here, other than to say that its dodge timing should be much more forgiving and intuitive, I would probably just make him way more aggressive and give him way more openings. I don't know if it's practical for this fight to work with him being stationary, but his, like, feels kind of like they're trying to have it both ways with this guy sometimes, in terms of him being basically a stationary boss, but also moving. So I would maybe like it if he just didn't move, and they, you know, reconsidered his whole deal in light of that. The idea basically being that by having him be more aggressive and have more openings, oh, come on. The fight is a little more dynamic, and there are fewer moments where you're just kind of running away from him and not really able to interact with him or the fight, which is, you know, essentially trying to remove the boring parts. I like that it's a hard fight. I mean, I always like difficult fights. You know, phase 1 is much more exciting because the Serpent is more fun to dodge than Rykard is. I mean, the Serpent has its own brand of bullshit, don't get me wrong. But I would much rather dodge its, you know, its triple attack like this than his slow-ass swords that are slow, but still fast enough that you don't have openings in between them. But also, you know, part of the problem with phases like this one that have kind of bullshitty attacks, like the poison is not bullshit, but the earthquake after poison is that it kind of is RNG. Like, if he just does his triple bite, phase 1 is incredibly consistent and easy, right? But if he does the poison, and especially if he does poison into earthquake, oh man, it's so much more difficult. And not in like a compelling way, it just is bullshit. Like, it's more, this fight is more fun when you cheese him by standing in the lava. Oh. And the lava itself, the lava just sucks. The lava should not be that far from him. Is it prevents you basically from having the gameplay of deciding to be up close with him or not. Okay, so he just completely missed that. I bet that the way that this fight eventually ends is I just play phase 2 incredibly conservatively and just spend a lot of time running and not engaging with him. And and basically just like taking pot shots at him, which sucks. I mean, that's not a fun way, but you know, maybe with a plus 10 weapon and with some buffs, I could have a different fight. And I normally don't play that way because I don't really like the gameplay of spending literally any amount of time standing still buffing myself. So I'm just gonna have to suffer through it. The upside to all of this, though, is that this is, I think, the last fight that I find genuinely unfun of the ones that I plan to do with this run. So once this guy is set aside, I think I'll be pretty smooth sailing, which isn't to say that there's not going to be any parts of the... Oh, for pity's sake. Any parts that I don't enjoy. Like, the Halig tree is going to suck. You know, anywhere where there are enemies that stand far away from you and spam shit at you is annoying under normal circumstances and a nightmare when you have no health. So the Halig tree approach is gonna be bad. Like there's no way around it. But the Halig tree has one of my absolute favorite fights in the game with Loretta. Probably an S tier fight, that one I think. And it has Millennia, which is a fight I am sure is going to make me cry, but which I do think is a good fight. Although I have my criticisms of the Millennia fight too. It is more compelling than the Rykard fight. You know, my criticisms of Millennia don't amount to it's not fun, which is the worst thing it can be. You know, it still has to be a game, right? So if the boss isn't fun to fight, it has fundamentally failed at some level. And Rykard is not fun to fight. In terms of making the fight predictable, you always have enough time, no matter what opening he does, to get that first hit in with the weapon art, and to follow up with a heavy. Now, I know from experience he can riposte with that pretty rapidly, so I don't want to do that. Oh, the lava. See, this is what I mean about the lava being both, like, really important to how this fight works, but also the worst thing about it. Because it just traps you in these really shitty... there's no way other than to say these really shitty play patterns. Is it effectively limits the amount of, like, actually, but in a fight like Godfrey, for example, depending on the weapon you've brought and your weapon art and the playstyle you like, you have a lot of different spacing options with him. You have no spacing options with this guy, right? You have basically one way to fight him. And, you know, at rune level 1, this fight is way worse than at other rune levels, because now, you know, at least in a standard game, the lava is not like a huge detriment, but now it's a real pain in the ass. Okay. I mean, at the very least, I will say phase 1 is getting really consistent. So I don't know if I'll get him tonight, but I don't think this guy will become a really long-term thing. Like, I bet if I consciously try to play this really conservatively, I can have a result I want. Interesting. Oh, that's gonna kill me. Too close. Uh-oh. You know, that breath attack he does, I always forget that it's not just the explosion at the start. With that one, you're now condemned to keep running. I guess that attack probably exists because they realized at some level that the sword makes him slow. And so it becomes incredibly vulnerable if you are good at positioning. So the skulls exist to force you to move. And that sucks. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Like, this is more fun than anything in Phase 2. That's not, though. I mean, I hate that. Lava's probably going to get me here. I missed him. That's a shame. Oh, okay. Well, I deserved that, admittedly. All right, here we go again. So yeah, the conference might or might not be a bust. If the conference works out, that'll be a really interesting and exciting project for me, but I have decided that I'm not going to feel bad if it doesn't. Because if I allow myself to feel bad too much, I worry that I might start indulging in bad habits. Because I truly don't think it's my fault. And I also truly don't think that I could have seen it coming if I had. You know, I don't want to air, like, literal dirty laundry on screen. I would say that there are definitely things that the conference committee could have done better. Speaking vaguely here, there was essentially one member who felt, and I think this is an incorrect judgment of the situation on his part, but not an unreasonable one. He felt that he had been exclusively tasked with a very significant job. Okay, well, now he's done the breath, so I can't have fun anymore. I get to just run. Oh, no, I'm gonna get blown up. See what I mean? I did all that dodging. Still wasn't enough because his stupid skulls are still going, man. But if you remove the skulls, phase 2 would actually be incredibly easy because the sword is easier to dodge than the snake. It's easier to dodge than the poison. It's definitely easier to dodge than the earthquake. This fight can't be fixed. It needs to just be scrapped. Yeah. This is the thing that gets me about Elden Ring sometimes. And I'm going to have to consciously move off of this subject after I say my piece here, because I feel like I'm getting into rant mode in a kind of unproductive way. But Elden Ring has a lot of bosses in it, right? In the very early days, right after this game released, when there was still, I would say, there wasn't the same consensus that this thing is a masterpiece like there is now. There was quite a lot of criticism of some of the boss design in this, and a lot of that dealt with Millennia, for example, and a lot of it dealt with other criticisms that I don't think are fully warranted, like them reusing, for example, the gladiators or the tree sentinels or whatnot. But there was some discussion of Rykard, to my recollection, and I think that mostly dealt with, you know, a lot of the same stuff I'm talking about here. Okay. There's a way for me to, like, bait that to blow up earlier. Like, that attack is actually fun. But, you know, it's also his only fast attack when he's got the sword out. So, you know, it is actually challenging as opposed to attacks on your patience. I guess maybe okay, so sorry, to get back to where I was with Elden Ring overall. I would say that Elden Ring has some of the most fun FromSoft fights they've ever made in it. And also, genuinely, unapologetically, some of the worst. Rykard is up. I don't know why I thought Rykard could be a C tier fight. This is a D tier fight, for sure. It's not broken, I don't think. There's no obvious bugs or bullshit, so I won't give it an F. But it's as bad as it can be and still be functional, I think. I'm gonna get... Okay, I didn't do it fast enough. And I got hit with poison too, so, you know, fuck it. I'll just let him eat me. So on average, like, if you judge it by its strengths, by like its top 10, you know, that top 10 boss fights in Elden Ring, all really, really high quality, really, really, really good standard of gameplay there. If you judge it by all of them, it's a little harder to say because there's so many of them that it probably drags the average down. So, I don't know. I feel like the fair comparison is to look at the average, like, yeah, I don't know, the percentage of the bosses that are good versus the percentage of the bosses that are bad. And Elden Ring does not have a lot of bad bosses, but it does have a lot of average bosses, which is not, I think, great or better. But I don't know, let's see. Let's try just running away from him a lot and see if this pays dividends in phase 2. And then after that, you know, we got another 15 minutes before break 2. We'll see how I feel and what you know. Okay, now we run again. Okay. Oh, okay. So I can't even tag him with a heavy after that. Okay, okay. So sweep cannot be followed up with on a heavy. Maybe with better timing, but I don't think I'm going to risk it. All right, Rykard, here we go again. What was the... I guess, you know, what was the worst fight in Dark Souls 3? I mean, I didn't like Yorm, but I didn't think it was necessarily a bad fight, because it was still a little bit fun, at least. Ooh, that was very lucky on my part. I didn't like Wolnir as a fight either, for kind of the same reasons that I don't like Rykard. Not necessarily difficulty, but I didn't find its gameplay fun, which is kind of a recurring theme with the, like, huge bosses with weird arenas, is these experiments, to my mind, have rarely been successful. And they don't really seem to build on each other. Like, there's no Wolnir 2.0 that fixes the problems with that janky-ass fight. But Wolnir, unlike Rykard, is easy, right? The techniques for dealing with him are too straightforward is the problem. Okay, 2 heavies. Now we run again. Okay, big swing. Got tagged by lava. Another big swing coming. Hit him again. Now what? Oh, did I just make a mistake? Okay. Okay, so the thing that keeps killing me when I run away from him here is these, like, jets of lava. So I'm trying to, like, get a glimpse of them here, and it looks like they mostly occur at the edge of his lava puddle. So I'm thinking that the best way for me to survive the Phase 2 Skull Storm spell, I guess, is to run really, really far. Like, he'll still be able to tag me with his sword if I'm not careful. But it seems like if I can get, like, let's say the diameter of his lava puddle away from him, I will be in a much more consistently safe place and will be less vulnerable to getting killed by lava, even though I've dodged everything else. That's my hope, anyway. You know, theory that I will keep attempting to test as we move on here. Okay. Poison. Bad. So this could mean earthquake. Yep. Yep. You know, if you fully escape the poison, the earthquake still kills you. So I guess I will simply continue to suffer as I have suffered. What are some other things? So I heard back from the place that I might do some volunteer tutoring at once a week. That'll be good. That'll be my Tuesdays going forward if that works out. And I just got to send them my resume and a cover letter, so I'll probably work on that a bit tomorrow after I finish the abstract for the conference I want to submit to. Ooh. And the student radio at my university, I have noticed, has recently done a big push to get student volunteers. As part of that, they have said they will train you on radio and audio mixing, and this sounds like a pretty exciting opportunity, I think, because I can develop some skills that I don't currently have. And as far as what I would propose to them, I mean, I would be happy to have radio books or radio Middle English of some level. I don't know what they would be willing to endorse, but I'm more than willing to do, you know, something that'll get me an hour radio a week if it means that I get some training on audio production, audio mixing, things like that. Okay, so let's run really, really far. Okay, see, we're still, like... So he can step forward, and I'm pretty sure that can still hit me. But I'm far enough away that the... Uh-oh. Yeah. Okay, so that's the attack that ends... Oh, and I didn't time it well enough. Well, I guess the next question will be, if I get through all of that, which involves like a almost 45-second interlude during which I can't really fight him, will he do that attack again? And I sincerely, sincerely, sincerely hope the answer to that is no. But I guess you know, there's only one way to find out. So I figure we've got another, you know, if we're consistently getting into phase 2 like we have been, I got another 4 or 5 pulls here. And then we'll go for second break. And then I am going to not allow myself to... Okay. Talk about how much I hate this fight after that. Oh, I am poisoned? Yeah, I might as well just die. It's not gonna work Alright, once more into the breach. So we'll see if the radio thing goes anywhere. I like the idea of it. I don't know how much work that's going to involve on a weekly basis. So that's kind of an open question. But I feel like it's something that's different and unusual enough that, you know, people will be interested. And I don't foresee, like, you know, if I get my medieval Thursday or whatever, it's not like I'm going to be exclusively having, like, Middle English over the radio during that time. It's, you know, I'll maybe spend a little bit of it, but it just won't be a good good radio if no one can understand it. So probably what I would do is, you know, read a short poem or something and talk about it a bit, or talk about some interesting things about medieval literature that maybe wouldn't be immediately obvious to casual observer, that might be fun for people to hear about. Okay, getting boxed in here. So I want to take a step back. Let's give ourselves some space here. And we'll follow that up with a heavy. Now we gotta run. Oh, no. Okay, I might have a little bit of time here. Okay, can't follow that up. Or that. I can follow that up. Okay. And we'll hit him with a heavy. Hit him with another heavy. And another heavy. Okay, now it is time to run. See, he does have attacks that can close the distance. If he were, like, more passive in this phase, oh no, I think it would be a little more tolerable. Unfortunately, it's kind of the skulls prevent you from interacting with him, but he can certainly interact with you. Oh, okay. Dodged a little too late. You know, that timing is going to take some finesse in order to perfect. All right. Let's see, what else? Today I asked my students just to tell me a little bit about what they are curious about in life, like things that they would want to learn about or find out more about in their free time that has nothing to do with school. And quite a lot of them told me about their hobbies, which I thought was really sweet. Many of them are interested in crocheting. That seems to be a pretty popular student hobby these days. And why not? It's a great hobby to have. Definitely a lot of students telling me that they're really into true crime. Can I? Dare I? Okay, there you go. Not a lot of students much into sports, which did kind of surprise me. Only, I think, across about over 30 students, I only had 2 or 3 mention sports as a thing that they really care about. But I did specifically ask them in context of stuff they would like to learn about, so that sucks. Now, the start of Phase 2 is going to take even longer. And dodge that, okay. And dodge that. Oh. And dodge that. Oh, I'm going to die. Yeah. Yeah, I guess if I were fixing this fight, I would definitely take away his ability to just summon skulls outside of the interlude phase, I guess, because, well, I don't know. Would would they be fine on their own if the other stuff wasn't happening? It's hard to say. Let me put it this way, I definitely don't think I'll ever struggle with this fight again on rune level 150. It's a weird fight because I so dislike doing it normally that I oftentimes engage in weird janky strategies without necessarily like a good reason to, just because it's so obstreperous to deal with. Are you gonna double poison me? Okay. Now I'm surely gonna get the earthquake now, right? Okay. And this is gonna produce an interesting late stagger. Really late stagger. Aw, that's a shame. That's an easy attack to dodge, too. Oh. Oh. Whoops, sorry. I guess my slurping got on camera there. Or on mic, rather, I should say. Alrighty, in we go. That's an interesting opening pattern. I don't see him do that a lot. I should really go look up what the speedrunners are doing about this fight, because you know, the speedrunners are the people that are going to learn stuff like how to manipulate his movement or his opening pattern so that you always get the one you want. Because, you know, I'm mostly getting into phase 2 now, but it's a little bit inconsistent. I guess the key to this fight is going to be a good opening first salvo. So I got to hit him with a weapon art here, and then I got to hit him with a heavy, and then I can, depending on the attack pattern he does after that, maybe hit him with 2 heavies. But if I get a little too close to him, the lava will start tagging me. The goal here, I think, and the key to a successful fight of this guy is going to be getting him down to half health before he goes into the flying skulls phase. Okay, so this is going to be my last pull before second break, and then I will not allow myself to talk about the fight really anymore after that, because it is kind of making me annoyed. And I don't want that to be my energy, so I will then move on to other subjects, which I think are more fun to talk about. Maybe get into a little bit of Robin Hood, or I don't know, just other subjects I've seen people discussing lately that I can jump in on. And we'll see how that goes. Aw. Sucks to get hit by an easy one. But keeps you humble. I wonder if I will get hurt if I stand where his head lands. Okay, don't have to go super far forward to hit him, but okay. Can't capitalize on that, because that sword will kill you. Oh, the lava is ruining my day here. What I would really like to figure out how to do is if I can manage to... Oh, I'm stuck on the pillar. Stun him before this or if it's possible to stun him out of it. I don't think it is. But goodness, what a miracle it would be if so. Running right to the edge of the arena is not always wise here because it prevents you from backing up. But that might be what you need to do. I think this is a safe distance because it's not triggering his charge. Or, I say that. Oh, yeah. Wow, talk about getting killed by my own hubris. Oh, and he eats me as the final step. Oh, God, that's... Well, that is about as clear a signal as we could have that it is time for a break. So I am going to go relieve myself and come up with some less sort of awful things to talk about. And I will see you folks in just a couple of minutes. Alrighty, folks, I am back and suitably relieved, so we will return to the battle to defeat Rykard. I have sworn that I will not talk about the fight any further after this, so we will only discuss subjects entirely unrelated to whatever is happening on screen. I thought I might start off with a bit of some of what I find interesting about these old Robin Hood stories. I mentioned much earlier that people are often surprised by the medieval ones, not only because they don't have a lot of what we consider, classic Robin Hood stuff in them, because, Friar Tuck and Maid Marian and whatnot aren't in the medieval versions. They come up sort of in the 1500s and 1600s. But folks are often surprised to find out that Robin Hood is not really, I guess, like a heroic figure, per se, in these stories. Robin Hood and the Monk, for example, is a fairly short tale that describes Robin Hood being honestly kind of a dick to Little John. Little John, I should specify, is present in virtually all Robin Hood stories. So he's consistent, but you don't get the jokes about, like, him being some huge guy who everyone calls Little John just as a joke. That you kind of see more or less now. But essentially, Robin Hood and Little John start this poem off with a wager, just to see who is the better shot, and with a bow and arrow. And Robin Hood loses, and he backs out of his deal. He says, "No, you know what, Little John, I'm not going to pay you, even though you won fair and square." And so Little John basically says, "All right, well, you know what? You're on your own, man. I'm leaving." And so you have this Robin Hood who is now... Oops. That's a shame. Being portrayed as quite an ambivalent leader. He is, crucially for this time, not keeping his word, which marks him as lined up in some way with the not terribly great aristocrats who were ruling England. A pretty common point of criticism by the time these stories were being written down in the late 1300s to 1400s is that the aristocrats, the lords, were not upholding their end of the feudal bargain because they were not protecting people and they weren't keeping their own oaths. So these are pretty serious mistakes to put in, to have Robin Hood doing, because they're in effect suggesting that, maybe not necessarily that he's no better than the lords that everyone knows who have been ruining the country, but that he's not exactly, not 100% different from them. He has something in common. Now, how exactly you interpret that is open to discussion, right? Like, it could simply be that all it is saying that Robin Hood is not, this otherworldly figure. Oh. Killed by a lava spurt. But Robin Hood and the Monk has one other thing that is worth noting. So Robin Hood is eventually captured by the Sheriff of Nottingham, and Little John decides, okay, fine, I guess I'll go save him because I hate the Sheriff of Nottingham too. And the scheme that they cook up is that they're going to intercept a monk who is transporting letters from the king to the sheriff. And the monk at this point is accompanied by a page who is in essence usually a young man who's in training to take on a more significant, clerical position, or in essence, a general kind of apprentice to someone of higher status. Now, the poem takes pains to point out that he is a little page, meaning he's a child, rather than like a teenager or a young man. Well, when Little John and a guy by the name of Much find this this monk and his little page, Friar John pulls the monk down off the horse and kills him, and Much grabs the child and kills him. And this has often been remarked upon in critical discussions of the poem as indicating that it comes from like maybe perhaps a different writer than the rest of the stories, which is a difficult thing to, you know, confidently conjecture about anyway, because we don't know who wrote them. The poem, to my mind, is so insistent on you knowing that the page is a child specifically, and that they had a reason for killing him. Like, the poem seemingly nervously points out that they did it because they were afraid that the child would report what they had done to someone. That it seems like this is a problem that the poem cannot really contain. So the question then becomes, is this on purpose? Like, are we meant to see these characters as, at some level, like, amoral or not, you know, not heroic at all? I don't honestly think that's actually an unreasonable reading of this episode. Please let me dodge this time. Okay. Thank goodness. Oh, there's still a skull there to ruin my day. Okay. Follow up with a heavy attack. What are you gonna do now? Okay. Oh, I'm gonna die. Okay. Oh! Oh, that's new. Okay. Alright, so you can follow up with a snake. So I should wait to see him repose a little bit. However, I'm going to point out, little success. I know I said I wouldn't talk about the fight, but a little success. I managed to survive the skull phase. I know that attack has a name because you can get it as a spell. I just cannot for the life of me remember what it's called. Like Souls of the Damned or something. It doesn't matter. So Robin Hood and the Monk is interesting to me because it is both participating in a lot of the kinds of criticisms that you would see in literature of the time of like aristocrats, or in particular monks who are taking too much role in got that attack. Well, this one's a dud, but I'll keep trying anyway, just for the practice. So, for example, like, the monk should not really be carrying letters for the king. Monks are not supposed to be messengers. You know, he has actual duties that he should be taking care of. So it stands out that he's not really doing what he should be doing. But pretty much everyone in that poem comes off looking pretty bad. Robin Hood goes back on his deal. Little John participates in the murder of a kid, which the poem refuses to, like, overlook. So the Robin Hood's band of his merry men don't in this poem appear as like an honorable or just group, and their life in the woods outside of society seems to have a lot of the same problems that society has, right? Like the lords, like Robin Hood, are untrustworthy. There's violence directed against innocent people. People get in fights over money, for example. There's lots of gambling. So in the history of all Robin Hood tales, this one, which is usually assumed to be the earliest, I find extremely interesting because of how ambivalent it is about the thing that it's representing. You know, probably you would not guess, just from what you know about Robin Hood, that the very, chronologically first tale that we have kind of doesn't portray them all that well. Now, it's not the only one, of course, from the medieval period, and there are others. Robin Hood and the Potter is, I think, the next the next oldest chronologically. So sometime, I believe, written in the early 1400s. Ooh, got lucky on that. And in that one, you once again have money showing up as a point of friction. The critic Stephen Knight wrote somewhere, I don't remember where, that one of the things about Robin Hood stories is that any time that people exchange money, things get weird and bad. So the Robin Hood and the Potter is interesting in this because Robin Hood, he's sneaking into town because he can't go in uncovered or he'll be killed. And he meets this Potter, and he ends up with possession of all of this Potter's goods, right? But he hasn't paid for any of them because, he's Robin Hood. He's a tricksy kind of guy. And the idea is that Robin will pretend to be the Potter and sell the goods. Okay, I have to start running now. Well, this is a bust. Because I'm immediately going to get killed by skulls. Oh, I can actually dodge the explosions just without running. Okay. That's interesting. Oh, okay. That was very interesting. I didn't realize I could dodge those without sprinting. Okay, so Robin Hood is tasked with oh my goodness, selling all these pots. Now, Robin Hood is here taking his disguise a little deeper than he normally does. He very often wears disguises or goes hidden whenever he leaves Sherwood Forest. But he doesn't usually actually partake in the activity of whoever he's disguised as. So this is a little unusual for him, and he's pretty bad at it. He sells the pots for way, way, way less than they are actually worth. I won't bother you with the numbers here, but it's well under half of what they should be sold for. It's kind of unclear from the poem whether he does this because he just wants to offload the pots as fast as possible, or if it's because he genuinely has no idea what these goods are worth. Both are bad, right? These are both options that reflect kind of poorly on him as a person who is nominally, at least allegedly by reputation, someone who robs the rich to give to the poor. And here we have him, functionally speaking, robbing the poor. Now, this will change eventually, because he does gain quite a lot of respect for the Potter, because the Potter turns out to be not a fan of the Sheriff of Nottingham and willing to fight to defend Robin Hood, and is actually pretty good at it too. So that will all transpire later, though. After selling the pots... Oh, I think I might get killed here. Robin Hood is invited into the Sheriff of Nottingham's house because he has successfully perpetrated this disguise, and they love that he sold them cheap pots. So that's kind of fun. Everyone likes a deal, I guess. Okay, time to run. Or actually, time to slowly back away. Oh, no, too slow. Wasn't paying attention to what I needed to pay attention to there. And what what happens while Robin Hood is in the sheriff's house is quite fascinating because it is one of the few moments where we get like allusions to sexuality. Robin Hood is repeatedly throughout the tales noted as being especially and unusually devoted to the Virgin Mary. So you generally don't see him engaging in, let's say, any unchaste behavior. But there are definitely jokes in Robin Hood and the Potter that suggest that while he is in the sheriff's house, he sleeps with the sheriff's wife. I won't get too much into that. Maybe one day if I read it again on stream, we can talk about it. But right now it would involve too much of me trying to remember the exact phrasing of that stuff. Okay, I'm just going to let him kill me here. Now, so that's Robin Hood and the Potter. There's Robin Hood and Guy of Gisborne, which is an interesting outlaw tale because it pits two outlaws against each other. But I don't know it really all that well, so I'm not going to comment on it here. Then there's the Guest of Robin Hood, which is a fairly long and complex tale that deals with Robin Hood and how he... it's probably the only tale where you could plausibly say that he robs from the rich to steal from the poor, but it's... Oh, God, I see I'm getting distracted. I'm too focused on Robin Hood, and this snake keeps killing me. So Robin Hood likes to do this particular, let's call it, con, where he ambushes someone on the road and offers them, like, hospitality, right? So they can come back to his, wherever he's at, and he'll give them food and drink and a place to stay. And after he does all of that, he asks them how much they can pay. And the con is that while they are eating his food or sleeping or whatever, he has someone go through all of their belongings and determine how much money they actually have. So if you are honest with Robin Hood and tell him how much money you have, you'll probably be okay, provided you, try to be a good guest and pay him. I mean, maybe. We only have 2 examples of this, and both of them are kind of weird. So, in The Guest, the first character we meet, double poison, who is a victim of this con. Yeah. So you got too far away and it triggered the earthquake. People have done hitless runs of this game. They must know how to deal with this. The only other way I could think of to do comfortably do a hitless run of this game would be with the Mimic tier. And I just don't want to do that. Okay, so there's a poor knight who has suffered from a variety of social ills that would have been recognizable in the time this tale was written, probably the late 1300s, early 1400s. He has been the victim of essentially an inheritance scam. He is quite poor. He's poor well below his station, so he's a knight, meaning he's a member of the aristocracy at some level. I did it. Oh no, I didn't do it. I still got killed. Oh well. Oh, and then I dodged that too late. Okay, that's fine. But the knight is good and honest, and although his armor is crappy and falling apart, and he has a bad sword, and his horse is sick, and his tabard is falling apart, he tells Robin Hood honestly how much money he has, and it's an amount that would be appropriate to pay for a knight's hospitality. But Robin Hood instead says, okay, well, you are actually poor, and you didn't lie to me about how much money you have, so you can hang. In fact, we'll give you some money and you can pay it back later. So, crucially, this is not money with interest, because that would be usury, which was a sin. Aw, hate it when I get hit by the easy ones. And then a little later, we meet a monk who... sorry, I'm getting distracted by the fight that I'm supposed to be doing. A monk who is not quite so honest. A monk who has in fact been involved in the story of this knight, and who is responsible for him losing his lands. Or at least, you know, directly involved in this knight losing his lands. And he is not honest. And without going into all the gory details here, this does not work out well for this monk. Being dishonest with Robin Hood is likely to get you killed. Oh man, that's the worst way for him to open this. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so what the story of the guest is basically about is restoring the inheritance of this poor knight and righting a number of other social ills. So one of the ills that, okay, so he's just gonna do that even though I've done barely no damage to him. Okay. Well, I guess I will just keep moving. Okay. There's kind of a B plot concerning the money and exactly who has the money. It's a fairly significant amount of money that the monk at that point is carrying, so it's very... Oh, dear me. You know, I think the takeaway from it is definitely that, you know, before you even know the involvement of this monk in the knight's story, he shouldn't be carrying that much money. And this would suggest that the monk is too involved in secular affairs. He is not living a life of spiritual devotion. He's, you know, claiming that respect or authority, but he's using his position to enrich himself. And that is also the case for the bishop that he serves, who is the, I guess, arch-villain of the poor knight's story. Anyway, the way that the guest ends is the way that a lot of Robin Hood stories end. The Sheriff of Nottingham is killed. The awful monk is dead. The bishop is dead. The knight has his property restored. But there's an extremely, extremely weird and interesting interlude during which the King of England goes into disguise and briefly joins Robin Hood's band of merry men. And what you get there is essentially a kind of inversion of what we think Robin Hood is about, because... Oh no. Well, that can happen, and I got unlucky. It's a shame. Oh, gonna get eaten there. Oh. Okay, a little weird for me, but I managed to come off not bad there. Oh, no, that was too risky. Okay, I might actually do a respectable amount of damage to him here before he does the thing. Okay, okay, this is not... Aw, damn, I really expected he would go directly into his fire. That could have been a contender for a kill if I hadn't got a little reckless there. So, this interlude where Robin Hood is joined by the King of England, it goes on for quite some time, and I won't summarize all of it and all of the discussions and allusions that happen in there. The effect, though, is that what it suggests is that the problem in England, at least as it's portrayed in these stories, is not that having aristocrats is bad or having lords is bad, or that the lords can never be trusted or that they'll lie to you and cheat and steal from you. The problem is not that there's something wrong with lords as such. The problem is that you just have the wrong ones. So if you just had better lords, everything would be okay. And this has been for a long time the kind of standard reading of, I guess, the politics of the Robin Hood stories, which is that they're actually fairly conservative. They depict an outlaw who, I wanted to try and get squashed by that. An outlaw who embodies some problems but also some virtues, and by contrast, the outlaw story shows how much less virtuous the rulers are. And I do think that this reading has a lot of merit. It's not a perfect reading, but I think it does capture the sort of ambivalence of these stories to their moment. I will also say that one thing you can see from it that's maybe not the most apparent is how the forest itself, which is normally depicted as this almost like utopia where the problems of society don't exist, is actually not an escape at all. And in fact, it is so not an escape that the King of England can end up there, and he's, the biggest lord of them all, right? Oh, I always forget how long these last. Always. That was like 35 seconds of running, and the skulls were still there. I guess I just need to, if he does the breath attack, I might as well just run into the lava at that point, because I'll spend so much time running. But the guest of Robin Hood is also the one that ends with Robin Hood dead. He is betrayed at the very last minute by a woman, and an adulterous woman as well, which is something we should think about in how obsessed these stories often are with preserving inheritance as a value. Oh. Okay. Okay. But it's also interesting to me just insofar as how it undermines the reputation of the Greenwood as this like utopian space, even though it, logically it shouldn't. It is the story which has the most wide-ranging critique, but also sort of pulls back the most. So it's interesting because of this kind of ambivalence or uncertainty in the poem's own perspective. This to me is suggestive of not really knowing exactly what it wants to say, or maybe feeling like it can't say it. Okay, that was not too bad. I'm still surrounded by skulls, so I can't do anything. There's more skulls coming, so I can't do anything. Oh, and I got hit, so I might get hit by skulls now. Are you gonna seriously blow your breath again? No, okay. Alright, let's haul ass out of here. Don't hit me with that, okay. Don't hit me with that. Okay, that was just the double. Okay, good. Now we've got that. Oh, okay. I wonder if that's like me getting... Am I just dodging too late with that? I might be. I might be. And then there's Robin Hood and the Tale of Gamelin. Now, the Tale of Gamelin is often thought of as a Robin Hood story that is not really a Robin Hood story, so I'm not going to get too much into it here. But it deals with a lot of the same themes as Robin Hood, in that it has this sort of weird medieval conservatism. Oh, I think I managed to somehow hit him twice with that attack. That's interesting. Okay, well, that's a cute thing to happen, but I don't want that to be the rule here, so I'm gonna try to replicate that. Much like the Guest of Robin Hood, the Tale of Gamelin deals with restoring the inheritance of a poor knight. And one of the things that I find really interesting about Gamelin is how very concerned it is with animals and what it means to go hunting and what it means to hunt animals legally or illegally. Oop. Okay. The thing about the weapon art is that if you don't time the hit right, you don't get the stun. So with that one, I hit him during an animation that he can't be stunned out of. Okay. Do I have bubble? No, I don't have bubble. I got hit by something. Probably got tagged by a bit of lava. Oh, really? Okay. I guess I didn't give myself enough room. Then I ran into a lava bubble. Well, these things happen, don't they? So, okay, so you have this obsession with, like, you know, even as much as, like, everything else is going wrong in society, it seems like inheritance is the most important thing to preserve, which you have to keep in mind. This is, like, a very aristocratic value at this point, because other than the wealthy, no one really has any property to, you know, pass on or to inherit. So the obsessiveness of it can't simply be reduced to, like, how important the economics of inheritance were to the average person, because to the average person they weren't, right? Or they were so minor in scope it seems absurd to even compare them. Now, it could be, of course, that simply the Robin Hood stories were much more popular among aristocrats than we think, which, you know, does invite certain questions. Okay. We're gonna get the back swipe, and then the stab. Okay, let's run away and do our weapon art. Okay, we did actually stun him that time. Perfect. And now we're going to get another round, which means we can hit him again with a heavy. Oh, that's a shame right there. Okay. Now we run. Actually, now we hit him one more time. Now we run. Just directly away as far as we can go, almost to the edge of the arena. Try and get away from these lava bursts. Okay, we actually managed to get a lot more space away from him than I thought. This can be good and bad because it will mean that we spend a lot longer waiting for the skulls to get to us, but we can kind of catch our breath a little bit. Oh, and we're going to get that early. Oh, and I keep messing up the timing of that. That's a shame. Okay. I actually have to take a quick break right now because I drank way too much water, so I will be right back, folks, I promise. All right, folks, I am back. Okay, so let us return to Rykard here. So, you know, when you take a step back here and look at the Robin Hood stories, not as just like a series of disconnected ones, but you start to look at some of the themes that they have in common. I mean, they are very concerned, of course, with a society that is running into crises that are both social and economic, and that don't really seem to have a lot of good answers. Or the answers that are there are partial or incomplete, or don't really solve the problem, or just delay it. So it's a very good set of texts to look at if you're interested in how literature responds to moments of severe crisis. Oh, darn. That should not have hit me. You know, my research deals a lot with how literature represents landscapes and animals, so one of the things that I find particularly interesting, just as an interlude, is how these stories represent hunting. So I won't get into it here just because it's way too much. Aw, okay. You know, I'm just going to run into the lava because I don't want to deal with that much silly shit. So you can see just kind of from this why it's actually such a good strategy to stand in the lava if you have the health and the resistances to deal with it. Because the lava doesn't actually do that much damage. It just staggers you a tiny little bit. And it... Oh, that's way too early. That was silly of me. Oh dear. The lava... If you can get yourself almost completely immune to it and stand under him, a lot of his attacks go right over your head, and you just don't have to worry about it. You pretty much only have to worry about the skull attack at that point. So you just run from him a little bit, and then you're good to go. I've beaten him that way once, because I find it kind of silly. And so it seems appropriate for what is otherwise a kind of silly fight. Aw. You're gonna get the... Yep, we're gonna... Nope, couldn't do it. I guess maybe the way to dodge it... Maybe I have to listen? Like, I have to dodge when I hear the sound? I can give that a shot, too. Maybe that'll do what I need. I will say, just reflecting on where I am right now, I can tell that my agitation, because of how little I like this fight, has caused me to forget my deliberate voice training that I tried to put on for the last stream, and what that means is that I can once again feel my voice going, even though we're not even quite at 3 hours yet. Oh. Aw. Too aggressive. Too aggressive. Okay. Maybe I should be a little more comfortable trying for 3 heavy attacks after staggering him in phase 1. I'm probably gonna end up with a bit of a hoarse voice once stream is over in 10-15 minutes, and I'll have to next time try to be a little more deliberate about keeping to the voice that's lower in the throat, that's easier for me to sustain. I don't know what that means. Like, does that, if I can talk for longer with a lower voice, does that mean that, like, the lower voice is actually my natural voice and it's the other one, like this one, that is the wrong one? I genuinely don't know how to interpret this information. The lava is just a pain in the ass. Okay, so let's get out of here. So we got skulls coming in. I don't want to get hit by lava bubbles. Okay, we're almost at the edge. Okay, let's just keep moving. Keep moving. It's probably gonna, after this attack, probably gonna see that, yep, okay. So we never even completed the attack. Oh, why do I... That is a shame. I really should not be getting hit by that. So I don't recall that ever being a problem for me in other playthroughs. Gosh, okay. Thank you, Misty. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm almost wrapped up for tonight. I'm pretty confident I can get this on Wednesday. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off with only 2 or 3 more attempts in me. Do appreciate your encouragement, Matt. It's very nice. It's a tough fight, and I've been... No, I haven't added it yet because I still don't know if Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 to 10 PST is the schedule I want to keep with. I mean, it probably will, but I wanted to give it a month, so I wanted to ride out January, and then I'll see how I feel at that point. Yeah, we're gonna raid out here in a couple of minutes. I don't know who I'm gonna raid to yet. It's a mistake. Okay, okay. Oh, is he gonna attack me again? Well, that's interesting. Might be able to get some good damage on him before he does the... Okay, he's gonna do it twice. Fascinating. This is a rare attack pattern here. Alright. If I can survive this attack, this is actually a pretty good pull, even though it got really messy. However, I'm way too close to him, and that means I might get owned by a random lava bubble that I won't be able to see until I run into it, because I didn't get far enough away from him. However, he's not pursuing me quite as much as I thought he would. So, okay, I gotta hold some stamina now. Okay, we got this coming. Just gotta survive this. Oh, I didn't survive it again. That's okay. An hour and a half ago, this fight was annoying me a lot, but since I decided to ramble about Robin Hood, I feel a lot better. Oh yeah. I do. It's just a matter of time, you know. There's no use getting frustrated with it. It's just, I gotta tighten up my gameplay, and it'll work out. But I am getting tired, and I'm starting to lose my voice, so probably not gonna make a lot of progress in the next 5 minutes. But you never know. Uh-oh, we're gonna get the bad attack here. Nope. Okay. Ooh, this could be bad. Oh, no, that worked out in my favor. Ooh. Pretty good dodge from me there. Whoop. That's interesting timing on the stun. Going in with no bubble. Probably not a good sign for this pull, but, you know, I've got 2 or 3 more after this, so we'll see how they go. Oh, not that attack. Okay, I'm just gonna let him hit me. So I don't know if you've been watching the fight really closely, but if he does that attack with the breath, it summons a bunch of skulls that will very slowly follow me around the map, and they last a really long time. And the problem is that while there are skulls out there, I can't attack him because they will explode on me. So the breath attack just basically makes the fight take a really long time. So when I get it, I just die. Faster, honestly, to just restart. Okay, now what are you gonna do? Come on. Okay, that's a good pattern for me. If I don't get killed right away, I think this will probably be my last pull. Since I'm going in with bubble, this is a pretty good chance. So let's adhere to not losing bubble early. Okay, dodge that. Dodge the sweep, and dodge the stab, and get out of the hole. Hit with that. Hit him with that. The follow-up. Then dodge that. Dodge the sweep. Dodge the stab. Oh, I didn't dodge the stab. Okay, well, I can still hit him with that. And I can still hit him with that. And then the follow-up. Now I gotta run. Okay. Oh, I'm stuck on the pile of bones. This is not good. I'm just way too close to him and in a bad spot. I as best I can figure, you've got to be a certain distance away from him to avoid these random gouts of lava that you'll see. Like, in the distance, you'll see lava bursting up from the ground. And I think those only hit kind of close to him. Oh. Alright. Well, that's fine. I think it's still a good time to close the stream here, so I'm going to call it for the night. We will pick up on Rykard again on Wednesday. Hopefully we will deal with him then. Let's have a look here at who is streaming, who I can raid to. But before we do that, I have just a couple credits I would like to read out. So my model is courtesy of Sag Bast, who I met on Fiverr. You can find a link to his Instagram in my credits. The overlays, panels, and alert graphics are courtesy of E-Terrestrial on Etsy. The startup, BRB, and ending screens are courtesy of Bizarre Beasties, also on Etsy. The opening music is Heavy Heart by Kevin MacLeod, and the chatting and BRB background music is an original composition by my friend Haku Ataki. The ending music, which you are listening to right now, is Eternal Sleep by Darren Curtis. I am Furtifuro. I've been happy to be your host for this evening, and I will see you all another day on another stream. Let's see who's on right now, who I can raid out to. Yeah, let's raid out to... Let's go to the Aw Shucks, who is an art streamer who I haven't raided before. Let's see what they're up to. All right, folks, have yourselves a good evening. I will see some of you later, some of you in the next couple of days. Bye-bye.